6 years ago, I think, 7 years ago, I was in y'all's seat. So I'm really sympathetic. Parag and I were talking about how I may have overscored all of you because I was like, oh no, I know how this feels. It sort of sucks, and it's a long weekend. So let me just say that all of y'all's presentations were great, every single one of them. And what I would just tell you to do is to take this experience and do just really two things. One, network with yourselves, with other people. If you got a business card, email them. If you got a person that said, I want to get coffee with you, do it. Because the reality is, you will all work together in some way, whether you're Republican or Democrat, 30 more times throughout your career. Parag and I work together, sort of affiliated with the Howard Dean campaign. We know 90 of the same people. We've probably got 500 mutual Facebook friends, and we have probably sat down and talked twice in my entire career. I will talk with Pasha and Kevin and everybody else. Huh?
Okay.
Pasha, sorry.
Pasha like payday.
Sorry, I just met her. But we've exchanged cards, and we're going to talk after this, and I'm going to get, one, her name right, but two, we're going to work together. Mary Ann has worked at my former office, so sorry, you didn't do as well as I expected up here. No, I'm kidding. Well, in Trinity. But so the thing is always be networking, always be friends with everybody. This state, especially if you stay in it, if you're a Democrat, you're going to work with Republicans. If you're a Republican, be nice to the Democrats. They're going to be in power again one day. Someday. The other thing,
you're going to be pretty old.
You're going to be, Kevin's age. But the other part too is, this is a marathon. And I usually, when I have this sort of speech with people, I say, this is the speech of, I'm going to depress the hell out of you so that way you know what you're doing speech. This is a tough job. And the victory of this job is that 70 or 80% of the people that start in this career at 21 are not going to be doing it when they're 30. They're going to get some sort of lucrative offer in private practice. They're going to say, I don't want to do this after all, and they're going to go work for somebody that they can't even imagine right now. If this is something that you're passionate about, draw the lines in the sand right now about what you need to do to make the marathon last. Do you need to travel? Do you need to spend time with your puppy? Do you need to see your significant other? Do you need to go work out an hour every day? Because you have to figure those pieces out right now when you're young and it's easy, because before you know it, you're 30 years old, you're losing your hair, you can't eat McDonald's every day, and to work out is more of an effort than it used to be. And that is just the reality of this gig. So what I will tell you is figure those two pieces out for yourself. Other than that, be relentless. Be relentless. You see a job opportunity and you think, I'm not qualified for that spot, do not censor yourself. Submit your resume. Go to a legislative office. If there is an elected official that you admire, first off, stop. They're just people. Second, go knock on their door and say, can I talk to your chief of staff? Can I talk to your campaign manager? I will do anything it takes to be a part of your campaign or your office. The people that succeed in this are fantastic networkers and relentless at getting a job that they want. I started in the Howard Dean campaign in 2003 as an unpaid volunteer. I ended it starting Generation Dean with 5 other people across the country, getting paid to work on John Kerry's campaign and being the regional field director for the north part of New Mexico. That is 1 year. That's 1 year. So to say that you can't do it is a lack of ambition to try.
No pay or crappy pay at the beginning. Just be willing and able to just throw yourself into work and intern, volunteer, because good volunteers get noticed and they get bumped up, just like you said. If any of you are interested in the fundraising aspect of campaigns, really learn how to use Excel really well, and not like the percentages and making the charts. Like, who cares about that? Just know how to actually make an actual list of names and phone numbers and amounts, and just really know how to use it really well for yourself, and practice your typing skills, because it's a lot of data entry sometimes. That's what I would suggest. Is anyone in this room actually interested in the fundraising part? I'm always curious about. Okay, awesome. Makes me feel a little bit better.
College Republicans or the college Democrats networking. That's the way to do it. Those of you that want to run for office, you may want to work in a campaign, but do not get to be a campaign hack and think that you're going to be able to get elected from there. you need to go, you can play in a campaign or maybe two, and then go get a job and make money and then run. The path to success is not being on the city council and then moving on up, although other people will tell you that. If you're on the city council, you're casting votes that people like me, or the first thing I do in a campaign is the opposition research, and I don't care how you vote. If you're an elected official in a down ballot thing, I'm coming after you, and I'm probably gonna get you. Remember this about campaigns: be decent to people, because the people you pass on the way up are the people you're gonna pass on the way down. And in politics, it's up, it's down. And let me tell you, after getting beat in being a Republican when I started out, we were in the same shape as the Democrats are today in Texas. And we didn't win, and it was tough to make a living, and frankly, I don't even know how I made it through all that, starving to death in between. If she says be relentless, let me tell you, one day you go into a campaign, there's no use for you. The next week you go in, you may get a different answer. You had better be prepared to volunteer, and you had better, if you want a job, you need to be there and spend a lot of time. If you come in for an hour or two, once a week, that probably isn't gonna cut it. There's gonna be somebody else in there that's working a whole lot harder than that. And to me, in a campaign, you just have to work hard, and you've got to work long hours, and you'll get there. So, for what that's worth.
Okay, well, I'll start reading anyway. Number one, read, listen, and pay attention. Become a political junkie. In any industry, whether you want to go into finance, whether you want to go into PR, whatever you want to do, you have to be obsessed with that industry. You have to be really, you have to love it. As Oprah says, do what you love to do what you're passionate about. If you're passionate about it, you should be consumed by it. So read blogs. Don't just read your own site, by the way. The number one thing that I look at every morning is not the Huffington Post, it's the Drudge Report. Because I want to know first, what are they saying about us? And then I look at what are we saying about ourselves. Improve computer literacy, which I think Keisha covered. Learn software. You would be amazed at how many jobs and how many promotions I've gotten because I'm the more tech-savvy person. And by tech-savvy, it's I understand how to turn an Excel spreadsheet into a chart, or I'm really good at making PowerPoint presentations. That gets you jobs in this industry, and you kids are better at it than even I am because I'm looking at your presentations and you're like, you're whizzes of this. So for anyone who tells you that technology doesn't matter in politics, they're wrong. It does. Never speak to the press unless you're authorized to. This is hugely important because there are people, trackers, others, who are watching your every move as a staffer, waiting for you to screw up and make it look bad on your candidate. Do not speak to the press unless that's your job. Never refuse to complete a task that is assigned to you. Always be up for anything. Always be willing to do anything that's been assigned because people pay attention to that. People notice the person, the guy or the gal who's always willing to say yes and do anything. Never discuss sensitive information with anyone. And that's particularly important in electronic communication because don't put anything in an email that you don't want to see on the front page of the Daily Texan or the New York Times. Really, really important lesson to learn. And when you don't learn it the first time, it burns you.
In relation to that, Lee Atwater, I think most of you probably know who he was. One of the masters in the Bush campaign. He would hire people to go to the bars around the headquarters in D.C. and listen in on the staff to hear what they were talking about amongst themselves. And then you would get fired if you were talking about things you shouldn't be talking about.
Yeah. And the other thing about not talking sensitive information is know your environment. I live in Washington, D.C. Some of you live in Austin. You would be amazed at how many times I'm in a restaurant or a bar talking to my friends, thinking I'm just talking to my friends, and not realizing that sitting right next to me. In fact, I was telling Emily the other day, I was at the grocery store, and Senator in D.C., and Senator John Cornyn is standing right there. I was like, oh, you're the senator from Texas, and you're my enemy. Well, he was once. All right, that's Sandra, by the way. I wanted to see what she looked like. Be on time. Remember that your 3 campaign resources are time, money, and people. Remember, so when you're late, you're wasting all 3 of them. Be flexible. Sometimes, as Arshad said, be unflappable. Sometimes things don't work out the way you wanted them to. Sometimes you planned a rally for 15,000 people and 200 showed up. Okay, so what are you going to do about it? Well, you're going to immediately get rid of a whole bunch of seats so you don't have a bunch of empty seats in there for the press shot, right? You need to always be willing to be flexible. You always need to have a plan in mind. First in, last out. We call these the FILOs. In campaigns, this is a very important term. FILOs and LIFOs. We love the FILOs, we hate the LIFOs. FILOs are the first donors in, the first volunteers in, the first staff person who comes in every morning. I mean, first in the campaign, first in the workday, first in everything. And then the last one's out. That's the people who are most committed. I worked on Howard Dean's presidential campaign 8 years ago. I still remember that Congressman Neil Abercrombie and Congresswoman Zoe Lofgren were the first 2 people to endorse us. And they were the last person to leave us after the Dean scream and everything fell apart. And I remember that Carolyn Kilpatrick was the very last person to endorse us, and she was the first person to walk out on us when things went bad. And I will never forget that. And for the rest of my life, whenever I can help Zoe Lofgren and Neil Abercrombie, I will. And whenever I can screw over Carolyn Kilpatrick, who now lost her seat, I will. Okay. Always be able, willing, and ready to learn. Campaigns are about getting experience, and a lot of you said over the weekend that I can't get a job because I say I have to have experience, but I can't get experience because I need to get a job, right? The minute you volunteer, the minute you show up and you do a campaign, use that opportunity to learn as much as you can, because campaign resumes, for me at least, are not about what master's degree you have or what college you went to. It's about what you have actually done. And I can tell you, when the economy fell apart and all these lawyers lost their jobs, these young lawyers, and they came and said, I want to work on campaigns, I'm like, well, while you were in law school and working in a big corporate firm, this 18-year-old kid at a high school went and worked on campaigns, and now he's 23, and he's got more experience than you, so I'm hiring him. The box. I don't care if you work in field, or in scheduling, or in finance, or in press. Every person who works on a campaign should have this box in the trunk of their car. You need to have bumper stickers, lapel stickers, business cards, a notepad, pen, Sharpies, a hammer or a mallet. You would be shocked at how much this comes in handy, sometimes for security. Scotch tape, duct tape, safety pins, clothes. You have to keep one business suit in your trunk. I have been on campaigns where all of a sudden I thought I was just going to be doing field, I'm dressed like this, and then all of a sudden a call comes on, like, I have to go staff the candidate. And I literally have to tell my coworkers, take your shirt off, I've got to go wear your shirt to this thing. Have a change of clothes ready to go. A camera, an audio, or a video recorder. You never know, especially in this YouTube world, what's going to happen. So have your cell phone camera with the video feature ready to videotape whatever's happening. Especially if you get in an argument or a fight or get assaulted or anything, you want to have that. Not that that's going to happen to you most times. It won't scare you. And then, for the benefit of our friend Paisha, contribution forms. Always have a contribution form. If you're going door to door and you're a field guy, and I'm like, I don't do finance, but you talk to someone at the door who's like, I love your candidate, I think your candidate's the most wonderful person, then hand them a contribution form. That's money for Paisha and her people, which is money to pay for your canvas. Staffing the candidate, you will need the pen, notepad, business cards, contact number to schedule. You are the candidate's wingman. You should never be in the photo shot. You should never appear on the newsreel. You are supposed to be in the shadows. Your job is when someone hands a candidate something, you hold it. When someone says, I want to get in touch with the candidate, you hand them the business card. You are that person's shadow person, but you have to stay in the shadows. Difficult people are unavoidable, no matter what side you work on. Learn to deal with them. Don't, again, be unflappable. Take care of yourself. I think this was said earlier. Your health, your home, and make time to work out your finances. Get automatic bill pay, electronic bill pay. You will be amazed once you get on a campaign, you forget to do things like that. Have a life that is easily movable. I told you twice, Liz told you that I just packed my car up and decided to work for Howard Dean. And one day, I was gone from my home and everything. So make your life such that you can do that you can just pick up and leave. Because a lot of times, you were in Alabama last cycle, I was in Pittsburgh. You just have to be ready to pick up and leave. You have to have that kind of a lifestyle. And then finally, life is not television. The vast majority of campaigns are not like the War Room. They're not like the West Wing. You are going to be spending way more time putting up yard signs than sitting in strategy meetings, especially when you're starting out.
Good try.
Straight